Don't let anything sit in your system for more than 24 hours because then you have a chance of it turning into something physical.
I think when we get this term mindfulness, like this broad thing about constantly being mindful, no, mindfulness can be easy. It can be in the moment and you can process that quickly. When things do happen, let's talk about that.
You have to identify what it is into a sentence, locate where or why, and then breathe it out. The technique is that you are in that moment. But if you can connect to love in the midst of pain and then remove that, then you are golden. Think about something or someone you love. Now move all of that energy up, 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 and breathe it out until it's down to a zero. And my other recommendation is never react. Observe the situation, don't absorb it, and then go and clear it. And then you'll be able to see it more clearly.
My sweet soulmate, Shayoon, welcome to Rooted in Wellness.
Thank you so much. I can't believe I'm here.
I know.
With you in the flesh in your studio in LA. It's so nostalgic.
We haven't met before in person. You and I have talked so many times on the phone, but it was like instant just knowing from day one.
Yeah.
And I really just don't take that lightly. Like it's something really special that happens when you meet somebody and have that connection. So Thank you. You and your amazing husband, Alexander. Yeah. So you wear a lot of hats. You are a musician, you're a healer, you're a mother, you're an entrepreneur, you're an artist. Today I figured let's focus on the bucket that brought me to you, which is self-healing. Okay. And to start off with this podcast, the intention behind it was really inspired, as you know, by my own healing journey and merging the worlds of ancient wisdom with modern day medicine. So we like to start off the podcast by asking, what are 3 things that help you feel really rooted in your health and also who you are?
Ooh, it's a beautiful question. 3 things that help me feel rooted in my health. Number 1 is discipline. I feel like you have to be completely disciplined in order for all of the mind, body, and spirit to connect in the greatest vibration. So discipline for sure, number 1. Number 2, having those rituals and setting yourself up every single day and night for success is really important. Waking up and doing your morning ritual, going to sleep, no screens, all of that stuff. And I think 3 is just always being present and being in the foundation of love with an intention with everything you do. Yeah.
Good.
Yeah.
You said discipline, which surprises me, but knowing you, I know that discipline has a different lens than what it does probably for most of our listeners.
Yeah.
So discipline in the Western world means rigidity, committing, sometimes hardcore and showing up. But for you, the
It's the
discipline
opposite.
is the opposite.
The
Exactly.
opposite, complete opposite. So
Yeah.
for me, I think the power of no is the most beautiful thing. I don't think that you have to be everywhere at every time. I think when you say no to other things because you're doing something better for yourself is the greatest form of self-respect. And I feel like discipline to me is choosing your circle very wisely, choosing what you eat, obviously, very wisely, taking care of your body. I mean, I'm in the gym like 4 or 5 times a week, but like with my trainer, I sauna every day. And just really choosing health because that's what generates the wealth, you know?
I wanted to have her on that because I think that this is probably one of the biggest learnings, probably with the people that you work with also. They think that health and wellness has to be so challenging or so hard, but discipline for me feels like flow. It's flow state. Like you get into
Yeah.
a flow in the morning and that sets the foundation for
You
the
have
day
an
ahead.
increase of 40% if you have a routine
There you go.
every day, you know? Yeah.
Love it. So the flip side to that question, a lot of people think that health and wellness takes rigidity and hardcore, especially in this world where people are so busy, they're more stressed than ever before.
Mhm.
But people who sit in that chair often have a story that they've built on.
Mhm.
And chances are, I have a feeling you know when you drift again to go back to old patterning when you're
Yeah.
out of the discipline and out of the ritual. So can you catch yourself? Like, are there a few things in your life that cause you to feel uprooted?
Yeah.
What are they?
Yeah. I mean, I think that with my schedule, especially because I'm all over the place and always traveling and always doing, something wild and crazy, that I had to go through the experience of knowing what it feels like to be stressed and having a 9 to 5. And, I've been through all of it. And, when I lived in LA as well, it was very, it was very not, it was a learning experience, right? There's lessons in everything. But when I don't have a good routine and I'm not, solid in what's happening around me, that's when I'm like, okay, I cannot. And I have to come back in ground and like see where I can cut the problems, so to speak. But I think that also, uprooting isn't a bad thing, always. I think there's always lessons in why or where something is pulling you or which way you need to go. But I think just finding a great balance in how you do it and how, you can be at one place. For me, I'm like at Paris Fashion Week one day and then I'm in like the mountains with Indigenous the next, because you have to play a role of what your purpose is in so many different ways that sometimes you do have to uproot to be able to come back and ground.
Such a good point. This is the first time that I've looked at it through that lens. It's almost like the things that you and I do, it's good for us to feel a little bit uprooted because it kind of affirms the things that we need to be doing to feel our best. And that anchors us in that truth, right?
Right.
And that probably strengthens your voice to go out and then teach it to others because you're living it and speaking it. Yeah.
Yeah.
I love it. All right.
I feel like, sorry, on that
Yeah.
point, I think that in order to be able to even sit at this table, you have to be living it.
Yeah.
We talk about this a lot where you have all of the, the gurus and the yoga teachers and the, people who are really trying to push whatever it is they are in their health and wellness, but they're not living it. And I think that's part of the major problem,
Yeah. And this is some of the noise that I'm trying to quiet. You know everything about my story, but
Yeah.
going at the ashram, all the foundations are for health. We're quite basic and free. And I know there are a lot of the things that you guys teach at the LightForce Center.
Yeah.
But it's almost like now more than ever, we have to declutter what we think health and wellness means.
Yeah.
Right. And nothing matters if you don't have your health.
Yeah.
And I think that's why a lot of people who are shedding light into this world, and whether you have them in your life or not, find them digitally online. Like when I get lost in my chaos and loudness and uprooting, just knowing that I can go to a page like yours to kind of remember the resonance of like, oh yeah, that's who I really am. Go back to that aspect, right? It's so important.
We always have to bring it back to ourselves and, look in the mirror and say, where can I go today that's going to accelerate my being, right? And I think that, the health and wellness scene, like you can drink all the green juice you want and do as much workout, but if you don't take care of what's on the inside and what's really going on and, completely heal, you're going to be on that hamster wheel for a long time, right? Which is why we always say, do it healed. Whatever you're going to do, just make sure you take care of yourself first, right?
Do it healed.
Do it healed. If you want to be a yoga teacher, make sure you're healed. If you want to be a professor, whatever it is, like make sure you're serving at your highest when you're in the service industry, right?
Yeah. Let's go back to that LA piece because you and I have, we've built our careers around being able to be flexible and to be able to move.
Yeah.
Right. And I think that that's the future for so many people. And when I work with my clients, I teach them the concept of building their ashram wherever they are. I wish everyone could go away and experience the ashram.
Yeah.
But it's not a possibility for people. So I know for you and I were talking before we started filming about our environment really fueling part of us. Like it's the frequency that we get to live in that allows us to show up every single day. When you're on the road, and maybe for our listeners, can you describe how you teach the people that you work with to kind of maybe bring their LightForce Center to them?
Yeah. So I always say that our life is a living altar. Wherever we are, we have to set up the altar and come as you are, right? If you're having a really bad day, but just show up to that altar. So I think that when you have a really busy lifestyle, and I think also like, when people always say that I'm on a diet, it should never be a diet. It should always be your daily lifestyle, and then when you choose to do something else, then that's the
diet.
That's the diet.
Poor diet.
Right? The poor diet, Same goes for our mental health, right? We have to wake up every single morning. And the first thing I always say is you have to have gratitude. Look up at your ceiling because you probably have one, and then morning ritual is the best thing. Most people go and grab their phones, right? We have the 50-50 rules, 50 minutes before bed the night before and 50 minutes in the morning. Do not touch your phone. The second you do that, you're giving yourself away to everything else. So I always say check in with yourself before you check in with the rest of the world. When you can sit and mentally, it takes 21 days, right, to break a habit. When you can do those 21 days in a new program and you're telling your brain, this is how I am, this is how I'm going to live my life, you don't skip even if you're traveling. If I skip, have you seen that meme with the monk that's like flipping off the camera, Like that's how it is because like I was saying to you earlier, you can have 40% productivity increase by checking in with yourself first every day. And so I think that people need to switch it to like, this is my lifestyle and this is how I want to live and this is how I am versus I'll do this when I have time, or I'll take that class when I have time, or I'll eat this way, but I can't afford it. Or, when there's a will, there's a way. And I think when your brain and your mind and your body meet that, then you can really make a change.
When you got here, we talked about this concept of like spiritual bypassing.
Yeah.
And I think, and it's to no one's fault almost, I want to say, because we live in a world where we're kind of, we
Just following what's happening. Yeah.
we follow what's happening. We celebrate hypervigilance. We celebrate success markers by doing more, especially
instant
women.
gratification.
Instant gratification. But the difference is there's a version of myself that I remember when I was working in the fashion industry who was hypervigilant, go, go, go all the time. And I wanted to share your stories around that too. She's very much alive within me, but I no longer have the emotional connection to her, right?
Yeah.
So whenever I go into that zone,
The drive is there.
the drive is there. And I remember who she is, but I try to look back at it with love and compassion.
Yeah.
And I think for a lot of people, they're so interested in the work that you are doing, you and Alexander are doing. And they want to learn more and they touch base with it, but often they feel when they go back into living their real life that they get sucked in again.
Yeah.
So that with your morning ritual, can you just I know your morning ritual when you were sick and when your health was at its worst, that was impossible for you. So can you share the journey from pain to purpose?
Yeah,
For
absolutely.
people who are listening? Yeah.
Absolutely. From pain to purpose. That's amazing. So when you really are going through it, I think is when you have to sit the most, And I think, people always say, well, I don't have time to do a 40-minute meditation. I don't have time. Fine. Like I get that. There's times, days where I don't. We have kids and life and all of that. But I think the journey from pain to purpose is you have to be able to sit in that pain in order to heal it. And then after you've learned the lessons, you have to do something about it because it happened to you for a reason. Like you had to go through that in order to see, what is God showing me? What is spirit showing me? Why did I have to go through that? And then the perfect example is when I was almost, kidnapped in Bali. The last thing I want to do is go and, coach a healing session with somebody while I'm going through so much, right? Which is where I think you have to pick where you're giving your energy to, because you never want to leak anything else into such a sacred space. So I had to really go inward and see, I could have chosen, I'm just going to stay here, be sad and depressed about it forever. I can't believe this happened to me, victim. Or how am I going to help the world now? Or how is my messaging, or how am I going to educate people on why this happened and what's really going on in the world? And then you get your power back from knowing that you just did something. And I think my greatest, not rule, but something I live by all the time is the prerequisite to the full embodiment of your purpose is to heal first. And if you can get through that, then you can go into seeing what your purpose, your vision, your mission really is, because you can see clearly. You can't see clearly when you're thinking about 50 million things that you should be doing or that's holding you back, right? And so my advice to pain to purpose is you have to really dig deep. You have to go into the depths of your soul. And it's not about anyone else except for you. You have to do your own work, right? And then the light will come. And then you can figure out, how am I going to help humanity through this? And I think the difference is a lot of people don't have purpose or a give back attached to what they're doing. You have to give something in order to receive. That's how the universe works, right? So when you start to work in that cycle consistently and you give and you get back and you give and you get back, it's programmed into your aura and your psyche, right? And so you'll only be getting those blessings on blessings, I feel like,
True. Yeah, even if you're not working in this space, if you're having a conversation about, the mindfulness aspect of what you're going through with other people. And this is the shift, right? Like you go from a place of like bitching and complaining to a place of, this is what I'm feeling and I'm really ready to move past this. Then it's inspired conversation.
100%.
And that shifts everything around you.
It shifts everything. And I think the key to your mindset shift is also really important about who you're speaking with, and having a very centered, harmonious, balanced mentors and teachers and people who actually you can feel that you can speak to, that will elevate your consciousness. And like we were talking about LA and the spiritual bypassing, I think people feel like they need to be a certain way in order to fit into whatever the community or clique or whatever is like. But spirituality is just really about honing in on what you are going to be like and what your traditions are going to be like and how you want to live. And I think when we stop trying to fit in to the mold of all of that and trying to be something to just have a label on it is where everyone gets really lost, instead of truly embodying it and living it
Yeah.
without an opinion, or without a number attached to it,
I love that so much. And I I have a feeling when you and I are working with clients, we're coming at it at different angles, but we're getting them to connect with a version of themselves that they came into this world with.
Yeah.
So ultimately, it's the feeling of remembering who you are.
Yeah.
And when you remember who you are as a child, if you were a frequency that came into this world, I'm 10 times out of 10, I met with tears
Yeah.
and people just going back because it feels like a true sense of freedom. Like, oh, I don't have to fit into this box anymore. I don't have to be the good girl or the good boy. I can let go of the pain, of the suffering. This is
Yeah.
before all the stuff started happening to me.
Yeah.
And then you could see it in people's faces,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. It's so beautiful too, right?
Yeah.
Some
Yeah.
people just need a little bit of aha or light moment or light person to come in and be like, whoa, this does exist. And it
Yeah.
can be an inspiration. I think that we should all live our lives as being an inspiration because
Yeah.
you can help if helping one person is like one matchstick, right? That person will go and do that. And just like how it is with our kids, we're raising them. I mean, you're an amazing mom and raising them in a certain way with certain beliefs is just so unheard of, I feel like now too,
Yeah.
And there's a lot of people I would never let my kids hang out with just
Yeah.
because there's no foundation of love and you know um, just wellness and health should be taught before anything else in school.
Finding myself, we both have little kids.
Yeah,
I'm teaching them about boundaries already
yeah, you have to.
and how to protect their energy
Yeah.
and people who they try to fit in with to make them like them, but they don't have to. And you can see their brains really working
Yeah,
to calibrate,
yeah.
like
I
really
don't have to give
shuffling.
you a hug. I don't have to
Yeah.
say this or that. It's the most beautiful thing you can do because when they're taught to defend themselves at such a young age, if they had to, or just by saying like the power of no, it's okay to say no. Like especially in our culture, it's like you have to go say hi and you have to do this with this auntie and that, and it's like no, you don't have to. You have to do what feels right.
Point.
Intuition for children is a really big thing because they live in theta, right? Their brains are already magical at this high place that we need to like get down to get, lower our subconscious to get through like a quantum, but they're there all day, every day, right? And so they automatically are yes, and excited for things. But I think especially in our day and age, like it's really important boundaries and emotional security, and knowing that they're gonna be okay if they say no and they're not gonna be in trouble for feeling a certain way.
That's so interesting. So you are half African, half Pakistani. Yeah.
I was born in Africa,
Yeah.
5th generation, and I'm half Pakistani, half Indian.
Of Indian.
Yeah,
There we go.
but full African.
So culturally, you and I were brought up with so many different
Yeah.
traditions and rituals, a lot that was based around misogyny and
Yeah.
trying to fit in and having
Yep.
immigrant parents and
Yeah.
so forth, right? There was
Yeah.
a lot of that that really conditioned us to thinking about what success meant, how we had to live and exist in this
Yeah.
world. And I think I'm bringing this up for our listeners because often they think about these traumatic events that have shaped them and guided them to who they are as a form of healing without recognizing that it's just the patterns that they have to break.
Yeah,
And
absolutely.
it's just the mindfulness around the patterns,
Yeah,
right?
absolutely.
Yeah.
I always say to my kids and that, because there's so much I agree with, like the culture I love, of course, and the
Yeah.
traditions, but then the culture, where's the line between like, what you have to do if you're in this culture or what you should be doing. I don't like that. So I always said we create our own now. Like it's what we want for our family. If you like it, come. If you don't, it can't have a weight in your psyche anymore. And as long as you're breaking the ancestral, patterns and healing all of those really negative wounds that really don't have anything to do with the real culture of the culture,
Yeah.
then it's different.
Mhm.
Yeah.
So let's shift that into this concept of the body keeps score, emotional trauma. And in order for healing to take place, what we're really talking about is just unleashing these emotions in the body. And I think that you and I, when we speak to this, often these symptoms or emotions, they show up as inflammation.
Yeah.
And inflammation is such a buzzword, right? And I think it really takes a lot of bravery for someone to decide that they're going to tune into experiences from their past. But do you want to talk a little bit more about that? How do you explain to the people that come to work with you how their emotional trauma, whether it was something major or minor from the past,
Yeah.
how whatever it is, it's still trauma that's
Yeah.
stored in your body and how that manifests in terms of inflammation?
Yeah, absolutely. So the mind, body, and spirit work in the same, it's psychosomatic, it's all science. If you have trauma from your childhood or trauma from recent, whenever it is, and you don't remove that emotion, because we have sub emotions under each emotion. So let's just go into the map really quick. So at LightForce Center, we're like fine tooth comb detectives. We want to know every single instance, and it could be like really, like digging dirt because you're like, I don't want to go back to every instance of my entire
Yeah,
life. But
I want to
the
remember
cool
that.
thing is what you do is you map out systematically all of your emotions and all like negative emotions and all of your physical emotions and all of your spiritual emotions. Most people on a scale of 0 to 10, 10 being the highest, are functioning their daily lives with a 10 anxiety, 10 depression, 10 sadness, or depersonalization, which means you can't even connect to your own emotions. So you don't even know what you do feel, right? And then they say, okay, well, I can't remember my past. So we take them through all the way to the front. And we always say, who messed you up most, mom or dad,
Yeah.
And then we write down every character, every main character in your life that you've ever encountered a negative trauma or instance with. So this is just an example. So you would label your father, for example, and then you would say something like the time when I was 5 years old, and you're super specific. You don't need the whole story, but just something for you to trigger the memory, right? The time when I was 5 years old and my father hit me at Christmas, I felt. And you could have a whole host of emotions under there. You felt what? Unwanted, sad, shocked, loved, unloved, depressed. And then you rank those emotions on a scale of 0 to 10. And it's as if you're still feeling it now. So when you repeat that sentence and you can still feel it in your body, that means you're carrying that root with you throughout your adult life now. And the way you react and the things that you're triggered by could be from this instant in time, right? And so you have to systematically remove every single time. And the problem is people think it's a lifelong journey. And we say healing's not a lifelong journey. It has an end date. You just have to choose to want to remove all of that. And I think that when you do go down that path and you can see it on a map, oh my gosh, like my anxiety is a 9 every day. Like I didn't think about it like that. Or my physical, so physical to emotional. I have chronic IBS, an inflammation in my belly. Why? Oh, because and then you'll read the thing is, well, most people that I work with, unfortunately, 95% of them at this rate have been sexually abused before the age of 4.
Oh my God.
And they all have IBS, or they all have stomach digestion issues. Or if it's not sexual, it's physical abuse, or they've witnessed something in that manner, right? Well, why do you have headaches? Like it all makes sense, right? So if you don't take care of the emotional body, it will manifest into a physical symptom, which then causes inflammation, which then gives you a whole host of, other physical symptoms, things like cancer and autoimmune disease. It's all suppressed anger, all suppressed sadness and anger that has nowhere for the grief to go, right? So then we just have to clear all of that in order for the body to recorrect itself. Like you wouldn't cut your arm and go about your day bleeding all over the place. You would tend to that wound. And we have to do the same thing emotionally so that when we look at the scar, you don't feel anything. And that's the goal. You want to be able to, I mean, I've worked with the craziest things that you can think of, people being raped by their fathers like crazy, and then can heal that and look back at it and say, I don't feel it anymore. And that's when the body says, okay, I'm ready to recorrect it. Because if you're affirming every day, I'm sick, I have this, I'm depressed, I'm sad, I'm lonely, you know, all of that. That's who your pain body thinks it is, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I work with not so much sexual trauma, but and this is for listeners, no matter what that your past, now that you're thinking about your past and all the stuff that could have happened
Yeah.
to you, there are moments where even if for an instinct you didn't feel safe
Hmm.
or you were judged or criticized, that resonance, what you're saying is it lives within your body.
Yeah.
So every day from then up until you're 30, 40, 50, 60, however old you are now, every time you were reminded of even that resonance, you're reliving that over and over again in your body, right?
Right.
This is what's crazy. Ancient wisdom knows this. They've known for centuries. In Ayurveda, they'll talk about autoimmune disease and rheumatoid arthritis as being unprocessed emotion that lives within your joints. It's embedded there, right?
Yeah.
And this is why I think it's so wild that we call Eastern traditions alternative healing when like this is
It's the other way around.
it's the other way around,
Yeah.
right? Western medicine
Yeah.
is alternative.
100%.
And you and I have done so much work on ourselves. And I feel maybe we can share on this also. The work that I've done, which is amplified by coaching others through the process, it's almost like you get to a point of clearing a memory. And it's not to say that the memory, the feeling goes away. It just means you can look back at that emotion or that event and just be detached, like, oh, I remember I can have compassion for that version and it doesn't hurt anymore. And then I'm finding myself now going through different stages of my life, getting older with older kids. It's almost like new stuff comes up, but I had to clear enough and get to a point of feeling kind of peace within my body
Yeah.
in order to feel strong enough for that to come up, or maybe for my body to want to even process it. Does that land? Do you notice this happening with people?
So when we do the work of the clearing part, which is the easy part, the bringing up everything else, the mapping is the hard part. When you're in a state of theta brainwave, and you can access all parts of your mind that you never knew that you could, right? When you start to trust your gut, and you start to trust your brain and yourself more, which a lot of people don't. And we always say, ask yourself. And people are like, "What are you asking?" And when you get used to that, and then you can go in and we do a lot of different techniques, but when you really cut the cords and when you really go in and you make the intention with whoever it is and the forgiveness, not because they deserve it, but because you do. And it takes the power away from somebody that's holding on all of this on you. Um, it systematically releases like that. It's like clockwork, it's so fast. And it's like, and then when you see your numbers from a 10 go down to a 0, you're like, oh, I can keep doing this, right? And this is for past. So we're not saying things don't come up and they're not going to come up in your life, right? But when they do come up, you'll know what to do, right? You always connect to your heart, think about something or someone you love, locate the pain, locate what the emotion is, what color is it. I mean, you have to really tap into other dimensions to really trust your body to be like, oh, my pain's green right now or red, or where is it in your chakra system? And then when you can turn all of that residue into light, then the body is like, okay, the program is working. We're reprogramming ourselves to be able to be free from the trauma. And then it happens really quickly.
Yeah, I agree. I wanted to have her on that because I think a lot of people, they hear us speaking this way and it sounds like foreign
Yeah.
or woo woo, or
Yeah.
it's just out there. But quantum healing is proving this.
Yeah.
And, when
Quantum physics.
it's quantum physics, you got it. And with the things that we're talking about, what happens is, it's not to say you're never going to get triggered again or stuff isn't going to happen to you. But what's going to happen in the moment is you recognize it. It's almost like whatever's happening before you is a mirror of something that's a reflection of an emotion that you held on to from the past. And in that split second of knowing, oh, there it is again. I don't have to deal with this. I can just let it go.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And I think when we get this term mindfulness, like this broad thing about constantly being mindful, no, mindfulness can be easy. It can be in the moment and you can process that quickly. When things do happen, let's talk about that. So you talk a lot about when we hold on to traumatic events. Let's put something light, like an argument with your friend or with your partner.
Yeah.
You can easily live in that space for days versus the opposite, which is?
So we always say, don't let anything sit in your system for more than 24 hours, because then you have a chance of it turning into something physical. And so the rule for that is, like I just said, you have to identify what it is into a sentence, locate where or why, and then breathe it out, or whatever the technique is that you are in that moment. But if you can connect to love in the midst of pain and then remove that, then you are golden. And I teach my kids this. Aya will come up to me and say, I have a fear. I'm like, okay, where is it? It's in my heart. Okay, what color is it? It's red. All right, connect to your heart. Think about something or someone you love. Okay, I'm connected. Now move all of that energy up, and breathe it out until it's down to a 0. And then he'll be like, healed, thank you, and then run away. Right?
I love it.
But what if we did that?
Yeah,
What if we
exactly.
were like, I'm having a really terrible day. My anxiety's out of here. You have to identify it and be one with it. And my other recommendation is never react, you know?
Yeah.
Silent and listen are composed of the same letters. So silent and listen are composed of the same letters. So reaction is, I think, also a big tool for disaster. So just, absorb and observe, sorry, not absorb. Observe the situation, don't absorb it, and then go and clear it. And then you will feel the difference in your day in the situation, and you'll be able to see it more clear, like maybe that wasn't, or if it was, then I cleared it. But yeah, never let anything sit for more than 24 hours.
And we've all felt that, right?
Yeah.
Unspoken pain becomes this nervous system loop.
Yeah.
And I think more people, I used to affirm all the time that anxiety was my blueprint.
Yeah.
But anxiety was the result of unprocessed anxiety from when I was a little kid, right?
Exactly. Same.
You got it.
As chronic anxiety, chronic pain, chronic depression, subscribed and prescribed to every pill on the planet. No one had a solution, right? Because no one's going to tell you, hey, go clear your trauma with and identify what color it is, or take this pill.
Yeah.
Right?
Use your breath.
Yeah.
Sit with it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Feel into it.
Yeah.
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 And I think now, so nervous system regulation is something else that is trending. And I think it's a great thing. I think it's out of necessity because we're just living at a time where things are feeling overwhelming.
Of course.
And especially with social media, right? Like you and I, we have to be on social media, but I don't know about you. If I had my way, I would
the
never.
Worst influencer on the
Oh,
same. Can't do it.
Yeah, I would much rather just never look at my phone.
See Shayoon post. I'm like,
I know. Yeah. And let's talk about that for a second.
Yeah.
Let's have her.
Yeah.
So when we speak about nervous system regulation and the things that keep us in chronic fight or flight,
yeah,
a lot of people aren't associating watching the news, going through their feed, getting constant pushes for, clickbait, right? And the next diet and the red pill as thinking of anything that could be dysregulating them when it all has the potential to dysregulate you, right?
Yeah.
And so with nervous system regulation then too, how are you setting boundaries in your life to not, it's the matrix is what you and I talk about, but how do we not go into that? How do we not go into the emotions that ultimately, like, what if it's happening globally? It feels like it's happening firsthand for me. I don't think I've ever fallen to my knees so many times in 1 year as 2025. 100%. Right?
It's just getting worse.
It's just getting
I think that also people they want that, right? It's part of the system and the program to make you stay in fear and to constantly be putting you in a place where you're wanting more of that same propaganda and fear. So everything is the world is ending, people are dying, the war, all of that. But then also you have the opportunity to, well, I'm very with my social media. I only I have everybody that I love on a certain list. And then, so I don't see a lot. When I go on there, I have one purpose. It's to get whatever I need to get out. And then sometimes I'll spend some time to see what else is going on. But I think you have to really discipline comes in here. Like you cannot feed into the matrix like that. And you have to set boundaries. Just like with our kids, we have to set boundaries on what we're seeing and what we're watching because it does have a direct cortisol effect into your body immediately. And then we're just in that mode all day, every day, which is why I say it's super important to not pick up the phone when you wake up. Because if you see a bad message from a friend or a bad news post or anything like that, you can literally ruin your whole week, And I think also we have to be really mindful of who we're following. Do your research, really see who is of the light and what people to trust and where to go, because so many of our youth are being, swayed in a different direction, especially all the kids are like such young kids on social. It's just not, the greatest pandemic or like the, predators. And it's too much, right? So we have to really be disciplined on what we're watching. This goes with our whole mind, body, spirit, who we're hanging out with. All of it is, designed to whether make you or break you, And I think we all just do have a choice, but we're so keen to maybe go the other way for a little bit and just see what's happening or what's going on. But, stick to what you're doing, know why you're there. And I think everybody should use their platform for positive change or to get there, you know?
When people come to my page, my community, or hear my voice, I want them to feel like they're in a sanctuary,
Yeah. It's
right?
a safe space.
It's a safe space.
Yeah.
And I think to put a lens so people can really understand, you and I have been in situations in different parts of the world where we are so connected to the feeling of source energy
Yeah.
and that regulated state. So for people who don't have that access, maybe we can just bring to mind for them. Everyone has felt, maybe it's a time on vacation where they felt the exhale
Mhm.
or the regulation
Mhm.
or the peace or the ease that might come just for a split second. You work with a lot of high profile people. How are you teaching them how to feel that every single day? How are you teaching them to remember that that's who they really are, not
So
everything else?
that's it comes straight back to discipline. You have to be able to make the choice to sit down with yourself and reprogram your brain because you can't. And another thing, if you really want to excel and you really want to be successful, not just, in monetary means, like successful in your body, mind, and spirit, you have to sit down with yourself every single day. It's like having that meeting on your calendar that you cannot miss or you'll be fired. And it takes 21 days. I'm telling you, if you put yourself in this program of your mind, you can reprogram and reconnect anything to where you can't live without it. And if you're living without it, then you're a different person. And it's just really about sitting down and making the decisions that you want to change and that you trust your body enough to understand that you are not in a pain body and you can control your emotions. The only thing we can control right now is our own mental state. So, how do we do that? You have to sit down and you have to clear every day. And we like to call it activations instead of meditations because you can meditate your way out into hours of nothingness. But I don't think that there's a point of meditating into nothingness. I think we have so much to do right now and so much going on that you have to get yourself activated and feeling good in order to be able to do good, you know?
Do you and Alexander still have that guided
Yeah.
morning? Yeah.
Yes.
Is it
And we
on?
will give everybody on this show the link. The morning ritual, we have the self love meditation. We have so many.
Beautiful.
And we have a community of thousands of people from around the world that you can link up with anywhere. But I think that also community is the new currency, and you can find like minded people. Maybe if you feel like, you want to speak to somebody in a different country or you want to talk to somebody privately, and it's a safe space that anybody can come into. And if I'm not there, there's thousands of other people that will be willing to tell you, it's going to be okay. And this is how you do it.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's important for everyone to experience that. Obviously, you and Alexander are just brilliant at what you do, but I think seeking out different teachers.
Yeah.
You guys were teachers for me at a really challenging point in my life
Yeah.
during COVID, and not even because of COVID, just because of fear and
Yeah.
everything that it brought up for me around that time.
Yeah.
And the guidance there, and I'll just share with you also just to paint a picture of what the LightForce Center is going to be offering and the way that your process works. So, in kind of discovery or uncovering what these memories were for you, I eventually got to a point where I remember Alexander guided me to this beautiful space where I was on a bridge somewhere in nature, and my mother handed me a gift. And in that box,
Oh, yeah.
that is my heart. My two
Yeah.
heart surgeries.
Oh, your spirit guide.
My spirit guide,
Yeah.
right. And I think for some people who are listening to me say that, it's like, whoa, whoa, whoa. Like, what do you want? There's no medicine. There's none of that. Your
We are the
body,
medicine.
we are the medicine. Your body, your mind, your subconscious, your consciousness has a way of bringing these things to light in order to help you understand where there might still be some darkness. And this is where like seeking out teachers is so important. Yeah. So foundations like what you're building is so essential. And I think where now to put it through a different lens of what a lot of people are going through, because the languaging that you and I are using today is becoming more mainstream. But tell me if you agree. I feel like what's happening from a lot of practitioners is that it's fear based. Fear around getting older, fear around getting sick, fear around aging, fear around not having enough. And if your actions are driven by fear, that's the resonance that's alive within your body. Do you agree?
Yeah, absolutely. Look, fear is probably the most common denominator that most people come with because fear stems from not feeling safe or not knowing what to do or past experiences with trauma. And it's just, I just want to tell everybody it's temporary because, we were born out of the foundation of love and everything else is taught. But as soon as you come out, you're a sinner, you have to fear this and that, fear God, all of that. So the program is so strong that it's okay that you have to reprogram for a while. You have to unlearn, right? You have to unlearn all of these things that were actually designed to keep us um to keep us asleep, right? And now we're in the great awakening. Everyone's starting to wake up and ask questions and be like, whoa, what have I really been seeing and living my entire life? Right.
Yeah.
So I think that I always say, replace the fear with curiosity, replace the fear of the unknown with curiosity, dip your foot in a little bit and see what it's like on this side. And when you can regulate your emotions just by making a decision to heal or making a decision to accelerate in your body and your mind and wanting to do something so powerful for yourself, there I've never seen anybody go the other way and be like, this is not for me.
Yeah.
you know
Quite, yeah.
you know what I'm saying? And I want to put this out there too, that the words that Mona and I use and all of the spirituality talk, I dip into many different cultures and communities and people for a reason. I dress a certain way so I can be relatable to people. I can also be barefoot and no makeup. I live in Kenya. You should see me when I go to the grocery store.
Yeah.
You know, you have to find the people that make you feel comfortable, but you also, I can tell you from experience, I've been through it all, everything. I was the addict to the pills and all of that after my accident because I didn't know what real healing was. But we have so much more information now in this day and age about how you can help heal yourself in your life, or like you said, get the right people, get the right teachers, and be surrounded by positivity and love. I've never, in the now almost 14 years that I've been doing this, I've never once seen somebody turn around and say, this isn't for me. Right.
And we have the evidence on the flip side,
Yeah.
right? The evidence is that the health and wellness industry is now a $4 trillion industry, and people are sicker and more unhappier than ever before.
Yeah.
So, why do you think that emotional healing is the missing piece?
Because, like I said, you can have you can drink all the green juice, you can do all the biohacking, you can go to all the breathwork classes. Those are band-aids. Yeah. If you don't take care of what is going on emotionally inside of you and systematically remove it from your body, you're going to be covered in bandages your whole life trying to pretend that you're doing all this good stuff, right? When you're really hurting inside. And so I think emotional healing is the only way to get through first. And then you keep up your lifestyle with those things. Those are tools for later, and they help. They help in the moment. I do get that. I feel great when I do stuff like that, but
Sure.
it doesn't heal me.
They're
It doesn't
Band-Aids.
heal my, yeah, they're band-aids. They don't, it doesn't heal my traumas. It's not going to help me, when I'm having a flashback or, so I think it's very important to sit down and map it out, like I said, and really take care of your emotional well-being. And it's a quick process. It's a really quick process. I have people that are like, I've been at my therapist for
Yeah.
12 years now. And I'm like, do you see the problem?
Okay.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
okay.
Or it's just a hamster wheel because they actually probably don't even know what else to say. Cause it's, talk therapy is beautiful. And this is no,
For sure. Yeah.
degrade on anybody that does go through therapy, but we are at a point in the planet and the universe where we are all needed right now. We need healers, we need doctors, we need teachers, we need everybody, but we need them to be at the highest caliber. Because what are we here for if we're not here to help one another, right?
Yeah.
And we have to get it done quickly. And you shouldn't be suffering for that long. It's really just unnecessary.
Yeah, and we're laughing about this, but we're laughing in the sense that it's like just really shedding light on the awakening that has to happen, right? We're doing all the detoxes, the cleanses, we're lifting heavy, we're talking about protein to endless
Yeah.
degrees. And the majority of the people who are doing all of those things, I've yet to meet people that sit in my chair who are wake up feeling total peace and joy every single day. And I couldn't agree more, just even as a nutritionist. So when people work with me on wanting to know what the perfect diet is, any diet will work for you until it doesn't. And the people who stay with me the longest are the ones who try different modalities, who recognize that, oh, when they deal with the emotional trauma first, all of a sudden, thinking about eating well it doesn't even cross your mind. You naturally do it. Thinking about moving your body or moving your body in a way that you love, you don't have to schedule it because you prioritize yourself. You move yourself.
Non-negotiable.
It's a non-negotiable. It becomes who you are. And so like my prayer for the future is that we really recognize the power in breaking up with all of these systems that are making us conditioned to think that we need to do in order to be happy, when it takes being happy first in order for us to go out and do the things that are going to make us feel good, right?
Absolutely. Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am. I guess let's shift lenses a little bit to, where do you think people are getting it wrong with doing the work? So when people, we're talking about doing work, I got to do the work, and people are resistant to wanting to do the work because they're already too stressed, too overtired, too anxious. How can you shift doing the work? Like, what's a different lens that you can help people understand?
I think that a lot of people have resistance to doing the work because they're not given the right information on the accessibility and they're not aware of how easy it is. Because listen, when you're in a trauma state and you're in a trauma bond with your body and you're constantly like this, and your brain doesn't function at peace and level, right? And so giving you another task when you have OCD, ADD, anxiety, and all of that is like a pure resistance, right? And I think that there comes a time, like everybody that comes to us is like, I've tried everything. I've done the dispensa, I've done this, I've tried everything. And that's when we're like, cool, well, welcome.
Yeah.
And I think the trying everything part comes from people are so desperate to be better and feel better. But I think we also have to take into accountability what you're doing to get there. And I think self-medicating is a big part of why people don't come to do the work. They say they want to, because when you start to feel good again when you're on a pill, right? Then you're like, I'm okay. I'll make it through. But I think when you take everything away and you strip your life down and you really look at it and you say, okay, today I'm just going to look at myself, no judgment, but I really need to see who my inner self is and how I got here. And then you realize, I think it takes a breakdown to have a breakthrough, right? And in those breakdowns and in those moments where you've tried everything and where I need to do the work comes in, you have to make that choice right then,
Yeah.
And I feel like people also, there's a lot of this talk about narcissism and gaslighting and these types of people and those types. So we're labeling all these characters and putting more pressure onto what they've done to us versus taking accountability of how we can fix why we put ourselves in that position and what we do attract. Do you know what I mean? So I feel like there's also culture around labeling to make ourselves feel better about who we are, what we are. Not to say that those things don't happen, but it's like the spiritual bypassing thing. You have this clique where you can belong to that will feed you all of that, right? But like I said again, do the work with somebody or a community who is of the light. Like, and you'll know like that, right? It's never about the money. It's really just always about getting you better. And it's never about coming back and coming back and coming back. We always say we don't want to see you after 4 weeks.
Yeah.
Like and I think that the guru mentality and the giving your power away to your teachers and all of that. And, even when people say she's my healer, I just want to say, I'm not. Like, you are the healer. You have the power to heal yourself. I'm just showing you the way. And I think that those are the kind of people who have no ego and have nothing else to share except for the wisdom of it. And I would go that way and do the work.
We have to stop overcomplicating it.
Yeah.
I have a program called You Are the Healer. Do you know that? Yeah. I think
Because we're soulmates.
we're soulmates. Yeah, exactly. It's like, this is what happens too. When I have people like you on, my cheeks hurt so much from smiling, not because things are funny. I'm so, my spirit is so happy. What you're making me think of is just languaging, right? So I think that we've really conditioned in society to overcomplicate everything and to feel like everything is hard work. Whatever your lens is that you're looking through is going to define how it's going to feel.
Yeah.
So you said earlier, you can heal in a few minutes, just like then. It'll be done.
Yeah.
We actually believe this. And I think it's part of a belief system that's driven by your languaging to yourself.
Yep.
When I'm working with my clients one-on-one, I'm focusing on the words that they're using. And I know that you do too. What are you affirming in your mind over and over and over? Maybe this is a good question too to ask for everyone listening right now. If Shayoon and I were to live in your mind for an hour or for a day, what are the thoughts that we would hear?
So much fun.
It would be so much fun, right?
You'd have such a great time.
But we would be care bears, like, no, switch
Yeah.
it to this,
Yeah.
switch it to this, switch it to this. And all of a sudden, how you repeat things in your mind is going to change your behavior
And
as
this
well.
is great because, we always say you have to believe it to receive it, but you can't just go from I hate myself to I love myself, right? So I would choose affirmations that you start to believe. And then when you start to believe them more, you change them more into a higher frequency of what it is, right? I always tell our clients on the calls, like, give me 10 and then we'll switch them to another week after things are healed, right? But like, I am powerful, I'm beautiful, I am all of this. It's really hard for some people to believe who feel completely powerless and not beautiful, right? So I would do things that you actually believe first so that you continue to believe them when they start to show up.
Ooh, that's a good one
Yeah.
too. Even as a woman, because we're conditioned in our society to not acknowledge our beauty or to celebrate our beauty. The what comes up for me is when I celebrate my beauty, I think about my soul's beauty, like who I came into this
Your
world as,
inside
and
beauty.
I can celebrate that.
Yeah.
And it's kind of like the beauty that you see in a child,
Mhm.
the light that just
Mhm.
expands off of them. You don't even know what it is, but you're looking at them smiling. Like
know.
that's the beauty,
Yeah.
right? Yeah.
Yeah.
So for people who are listening and they really want to just start diving deeper into this concept of emotional release, what can someone do in 2 to 3 minutes to start this process?
Well, first, I would say to start this process, I would sit down with yourself and ask yourself, like I was saying earlier, and close your eyes and really say, am I ready to heal? Am I ready to emotionally regulate my system? And get your answer. As soon as your body says yes, your whole energy and everything will change. Everything is energy, everything, right? Everything else is matter. But what you put out, your intentions, you have the ability to change the molecular structure of your water that you're drinking before you drink it. So why wouldn't that be the same situation with your mind, body, and soul, right? And I think you should practice. I think you should practice trusting yourself. And in 3 minutes, you could change your entire brainwave by just making the decision to say yes, because your body listens to everything, which is why I always say give so much love and gratitude to your body for this healing. Give so much love and gratitude to your body for the decision you just made. Um, and then I would really go, and this is not me marketing, but I would go to the website and look at all the different things that you are comfortable with right now. It doesn't have to be the full program right away. You can say, all right, you know what? Today I'm going to try this meditation, see what this is about. Today, if you just make it to, I'll make myself a cup of hot water with lemon and I'll sit. That's even beautiful. Baby steps if you have to, right? Or if you're ready and you want to go on all in, go all in. But making the small decisions and making the small um, when you change your daily routine and you make the small decisions to do something different to better yourself, you're only going to want more of it when you see that it works. Try the 50-50 rule. Don't do the phones, see what happens. Some people cannot do that. Like it's an absolute, there's no way. I have to wake up and check my emails. That is why you will stay in that same state, right? But you have to be in a state of gratitude, love as your foundation every day for everything you do. I'm probably one of your only people that can wake up and say, I'm feeling amazing and happy and peaceful today. And I have like 6 other shows after this. You know what I mean? But because it's all in flow and it's not something that is a burden to me because I'm living in my purpose and I know that I'm doing something to greater help people in the humanity as a collective. When you get to that space, your job should be something that you love to do and is helping other people, right? So you could do a lot in 3 minutes. Sorry, I'm ranting about it, but I think I think everyone should really sit down and identify, what am I doing here? Why am I here? And what am I going to do about it?
What I hear you talking about is alignment.
Yeah.
And I think that the more actions that you have every single day that help you feel aligned,
Yeah.
that's when you can start to expect miracles.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I love that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because we felt it.
Yeah. We always say when the
talking about
prayer meets the action, that's when the miracles happen. So you have to sit down and act on bettering yourself, and then the miracles will come.
Yeah. And when it comes to healthy rituals,
Mhm.
you and I share It's about the vibration of what you're putting into your body. So you just mentioned how you can change the molecular structure of your water or your tea just through energy and vibration.
Yeah.
Proven.
Intention.
Right? Look it up if you don't believe it. And through nutrition as well, I'm more concerned that after working with me, my client knows about whatever they're consuming is about taking in a specific vibration to their body that they're accepting. Like I don't even look anymore as a bag of Doritos or a Coca-Cola as a bag or a can of chemicals. I think of it as a vibration and what it represents and the ego behind it
And you
who's
can
getting
see how
paid.
they're living their life.
You
that way.
got it.
Yeah.
And so if I'm ingesting that, that's what I feel.
You get all of it. It's
get
all
all of
energy.
it.
You get to be all of that when you make that choice.
You got it.
And it takes a long time to come out of that.
No wonder to have her on that, because we're mentioning dealing with the emotional trauma and the stress and the things that they can do. But on the flip side, you have worked with people who have recovered from disease, who've had major diseases. Can you talk about that? Because I think that this is also the future of medicine. Yeah. When people can start to undo the trauma within them and the inflammation that led to imbalances and pain and symptoms or even cancer cells within their body.
Yeah. So I will start by saying that we do not cure.
Exactly. We always that.
You'll be surprised how much slamming happens. We do not cure any of this. We simply teach you the tools to be able to do it on your own. And we've had people come in with everything from stage 4 cancer, tumors, autoimmune disease, like you name it, arthritis, everything. And like I said at the beginning, is that when you have so much suppression of every emotion, it is going to turn into a dis-ease. When you eat terrible things and you practice a life of, let's just call it what it is, unconscious behavior, you are going to become that in your physical being. If you do the opposite, it's science, it's psychosomatic. Like you can heal anything that is a physical symptom by clearing your emotional trauma.
I think everyone should read. Have you read Quantum Healing by Deepak Chopra? Yeah. Read it and then read it again. Like let it just land in your body, the fact that this is the future. We have doctors out there who are practicing it and they're seeing remission happening with people when they do work like this and they break up from traditional Western systems. Yeah. And again, we're not saying this. Some people need the Western medical system.
There's a time and a place for everything.
You got it. And be open to the world of possibilities beyond you to healing, because they need to become mainstream and documented and shouted from the rooftop. But unfortunately, we're not there yet.
And like you said, that's the alternative. If you really need it, then there's a time and place for it. But the real medicine is from the earth.
You and I both needed it until we didn't.
Yeah.
Until we found another way.
100%.
Right? I could talk to you for hours.
I know.
What's one truth about healing that you wish everyone knew?
That it's possible and that it is the way out. To go in is the only way out to light.
Tomorrow morning, if you could, wave a wand and everyone
wave the magic wand.
Wave the magic
Do you
wand.
remember that?
Yeah.
Of course. Yeah.
Everyone who wakes up tomorrow morning, what are the 3 things that they're going to do before they open their eyes?
If I could wave the magic wand, everybody would wake up with love and gratitude. Everybody would check in with themselves before they check in with the world, and everybody would do something of service to help. And I think just to embark on that, I speak to so many people every day, and I always ask, well, what did you do this week for service? What have you done to help somebody else? What have your kids done? Have you taken them anywhere to do anything? And I think that's where our humanity is lacking. And I think that we always need to really say, well, what can I do for somebody else today in order to help heal myself?
And it doesn't have to go into social media.
No.
And you don't have to capture it with your phone. And you don't have to post about it or print about it or anything. You just do it.
Just do it.
And feel it.
Yeah. Just show up.
We're going to link everything out. But how do you like communicating with your audience? Where can people find you and Alexander?
Yeah, absolutely. So you can find me on my main Instagram, which is Shayoon_. And I, contrary to popular belief, I actually respond to everybody personally on my own, unless it's from a different ad or something like that. So if you personally feel like you want to speak to me, just send me a DM. Or you can go to the LightForce Center Instagram or just straight to the lightforcecenter.com page. And for everybody watching Rooted in Wellness, we have a free 3-day trial free 7-day trial for anybody watching this. And so you can go and see if it's something you want to be a part of. And we happily show you all the content, all the meditations, all the healing modalities, and just come into a community who's there to serve and help.
Absolutely. And game changer, absolute game changer. One of the best experiences I've ever had. I think I recommend you to
Thank
all
you,
the
Mom.
clients that I work with. I mentioned you to my community last week.
Thank you.
So
I
just really
appreciate it.
powerful work.
Thank you.
All right, to wrap things up, we're going to do some rapid fire questions.
Okay. Let's do it.
What is one of the biggest misconceptions that you're seeing in health today?
I'm not good at rapid. I'm
I
like,
know.
let me
I know.
think
Just
about it, give
reading
you a
on
very
this, feeling
logistic
into it.
misconceptions about health. That it's a quick fix through the Band-Aids.
Mhm. I love it. It's true. What's your favorite ancient healing remedy?
Oof. The jungle. The
Yeah,
medicine.
right.
Yeah.
Nature too,
Nature.
just like, oh.
Yeah.
Is there something about modern medicine that's exciting you? I think I have it.
Man.
What about the science that's going to prove that frequency healing works?
Yes, I'll take that one.
Because that's what I think about you when I see you singing or performing or dancing or moving.
Yeah.
It's almost like I can see or feel your energy.
Yeah.
And I think that we're going to get to a point where
I
we
think
can.
so I think all of the studies that's proving what we speak about in quantum physics and psychosomatic illness, I think all of those case studies, I think I'm excited for those to actually come out for people to say, oh, wow, you guys were talking about something
Yeah,
valid this whole
right.
time.
Yeah, exactly. Here's
Yeah.
the science for you, right, brain people.
Yeah.
I used to be that. I used to be there. All right. What's one takeaway that you are most passionate about right now?
Oof, them working in Africa and saving and helping the children and working on my center. We're opening the LightForce Center in the school in Kenya.
I'd love to be more involved
You are.
in that.
You're moving there.
Yeah, I'm literally going to see you in Africa
Yeah.
next. We're going to link out to all of that. You're doing so many incredible and beautiful things into this
Thank you,
world.
Mama.
And I love that you're doing it. You're stunning.
You're
and
stunning.
beautiful. And you're doing it in a way that I think is inspiring people, as opposed to thinking that it's something that is challenging or difficult, or sitting on a yoga mat and having to meditate for 60 minutes a day. You're doing it in a way that shows you're living life. And by doing it and having these practices, you're actually opening yourself up to manifestation and
Yeah.
abundance. Like I've just seen you in the past 5 years attract so much.
Thank you.
It's
I'm a
just-
conductor.
You are, yeah. I'm a generator.
It's in it. I know you are. That's amazing. Well, together, it's pretty
Stop.
awesome. Thank you so much for having me. I love you so much. I'm so proud of you.
I love you too.
Love you.